Hey, welcome to Joy Bubble. This is a video series about inspiring people. And today I have Terrie here, who's super inspirational. Terrie is one of my VortexHealing teachers. And I wanted to invite Terrie to share a moment in Joy Bubble with me because I love her journey, like how she ended up being a VortexHealing teacher, for example. Do you want to share something about it with us today?
Hi everyone, I'm happy to be here, and Kaiser is one of my favorite students and friends.
Aww.
And I'd love to share my journey. It's been an amazing process. My journey has been based on a search for truth. And I remember from the time that I was a child, I had something inside of me that just wanted more in life. I didn't know I had a happy family. I lived in a nice community, but there was something that wanted more. And as a child, the only thing that I could find that gave me any kind of insight or creativity was actually astrology.
Really?
I would read the little astrology columns that were in my mother and father's magazines, and I would go, wow, this insight and information is coming from the stars and the galaxies.
Oh, wow.
And that lit up like something inside of me. So as far back as I can remember, there was a desire for more, and I started with astrology.
Okay.
Growing up as a teenager, I lived in a small community in northern Michigan. I knew that I wanted to get outside of the small city. I had this burning desire again that I wanted more. There must be something more to life. And so I knew as soon as I became a young adult, one of the first things I wanted to move to the big city where there were opportunities and more creativity and life and everything that had to offer.
Yeah, how beautiful. And I guess that's a teenager dream for many. Like, I want to go
Exactly.
somewhere bigger and better.
Bigger and better and more people and more opportunity. And so I did that. I moved to the city of Detroit.
Okay.
And I went to work for the corporate world and business. And I became pretty much mainstream as far as doing my day-to-day job and had my home and continued the practice until it started to wear on me. That part of me that wanted more was being suppressed and shut down, and I didn't have that fulfilled feeling.
Did you feel something? Because I relate to Terrie's story because I have a corporate background as well. And did you feel, like, do you remember feeling something particular while you were in the corporate world, except just something cooking and not feeling right?
I felt that I was there for a purpose, that there was value in me being there. It served a purpose for myself, but I also felt like I was contributing to the corporate world in ways beyond the mere duties of the work that I had, my position in the career world.
Okay.
At that time in my life, I met other people who were also on their journeys, and they were receiving what was called spiritual readings by people who are very intuitive. Sometimes people could see angels, and so they would give you angel advice. And so in a step of my journey, in my pursuit for more, I started getting spiritual readings, asking for guidance and assistance.
How cool. And did you receive some information from those people that kind of like started to mold your thinking that maybe you were meant to do something else?
I received a tremendous amount of information that really guided me. I never used the information, and the same thing with astrology. Some people say that astrology or readers, they shape what you do in life. And I never took it for granted that this was the way it was. When I received information, it was possibilities.
Okay.
It opened up some possibilities that may or may not. And I found none of it was ever 100%.
Okay.
So you couldn't bet your money that everything was going to happen.
Yeah.
But they were all possibilities that expanded my perspective and my life's viewpoint that maybe things can happen.
Yeah.
So I think in a way, the readings and the astrology help to open me up to greater possibilities.
Yeah, you were so smart in that, because I remember going to the readers and being like, because I was searching for happiness, so I wanted the readers to tell me that, yes, guys, you're going to be happy, and everything's going to be like a fairy tale at one point. And then I also, at some point, I remember kind of like locking my things towards those readings, until that bubble bursted, and I, realized that there are just options, and you can never trust everything what's said there, because also that is a divine play in my mind.
Exactly, and nothing is ever 100%.
Yeah.
And even if they are the most accurate readers, life changes, circumstances change. So if it was right in the moment, it might not be right 6 months or a year from now, when the time, just because of the divine play and the changes.
Exactly. So then, you went to these readers, and then how did you find VortexHealing? Did it was brought to you?
One of the most interesting readings that I had was about my corporate world. They told me that I actually had a contract or an agreement, like on a soul level, to bring light into corporate America, and that it was a 15-year agreement, and that I had more than fulfilled my agreement, because I had been there almost 20 years.
Yeah.
And they told me that it was time for me to go.
Wow.
And I said, no, there is no way that I would give up my corporate job, my pension, my medical benefits, all the perks that I had. There was no way that I was going to give that up, even though spiritually I was told I had completed my mission. So the woman tuned into my system even more and said she could see the number 6.
Okay.
And she said, I'm intuiting that you're going to leave in 6 weeks or less.
Okay.
And this was about 6 weeks before Christmas.
Okay.
And my mind is thinking, Christmas holiday with pay, Christmas bonus. There's no way I'm going to leave before all of that.
Yeah.
Needless to say, 6 days later, my boss called me into the office and said, Terrie, I'm so sorry, but we've eliminated your program and it's time for you to go. My job was terminated.
Wow.
And even though I had been told, I was so identified and connected with being Miss Corporate America that there was a part of me that was in shock and disbelief and did not want to let that go. And I actually went through a grieving process of this whole part of my life, and most importantly, who I thought I was.
Yeah, exactly, because it was like you, it was the identity you knew.
It was how I identified myself, exactly.
And then the divine brought you to the path of VortexHealing. I understood that you were a student at first.
I continued having my spiritual readings, looking for guidance, still not know what exactly Terrie was supposed to do, how she was supposed to do it, and open to everything. And so continued having spiritual readings. And there was a magazine that was offered in Michigan that actually was from another state of Arizona that had all channeled information in it. And so I used to get this monthly magazine and read the channeled information and read the astrology, because I was still loving the astrology. And in the back of the magazine, people who were intuitive readers and did body work and Reiki, they would place their personal ads in the back.
Okay.
But this was a magazine from Arizona. I was in Michigan, so it was a long distance. But when I would flip through the magazine, this one woman's ad would light up for me. It would like sparkle.
Oh my goodness.
And
I'm having goosebumps all the time when she's talking. This is so amazing story.
And I would read this woman's this article, and she was in Minneapolis, and she did spiritual readings over the phone. And I had never had a spiritual reading over the phone. I'd only had them in person. And my mind was thinking, there's no way I would do something like that over the phone. That was still too weird to me. About 6 months went by. Every month I'd get my magazine, and every month this woman's ad kept lighting up.
Okay.
And finally, after 6 months, I'm a little dense, so it took me a while. After about 6 months, I decided, okay, I'm still not sure I'm going to get a reading with her, but I'm going to give her a call. Because something's up with her ad lighting up. So I called her, I told her that I was in Michigan and that there was no way that I could come and do a reading, and she said, that's okay, I only do phone readings anyways, I don't do in-person readings. And I said, okay, so your ad keeps lighting up for me, what does that mean to you? And she said, well, I would say that it means that there's something very significant that you need to receive, some information that's very significant, and the divine is lighting you up to get your attention, and so that you'll pay attention.
It puts lights on the ad, like, Terrie, check me out.
Little sparkles all around her ad.
And she told about the vortex healing.
So I did have a reading with her, and she said to me that there was a man that I had a contract with or an agreement with in Arizona. And I, being single at the time, immediately thought, ooh, a mate contract. I'm finally going to meet my mate contract. And so I asked her, is this my man? Is this my mate? And she said, no, it's not a mate contract. It's more like an empowerment contract. And I said, what in the world is that? And she said, he has the tools to help empower you or bring you into your power.
Oh, wow.
So I said, okay, how do I find a man in Arizona then that I have this contract with? And she tuned in deeper, and she said, his name is Rick, and he's written something, kind of a book, something about energy coming out of your hands. So I said, oh, and he lives in Arizona. That was the key. Rick, Arizona, and some
Healing
kind
hands.
of book about energy and hands.
Oh, wow.
So I went to Barnes and Noble's, I went to the reference book, to the station, and I said to him, I'm looking for a book, but I don't know the name. I don't know the author's name, only that his name is Rick, that he lives in Arizona, and it's something about energy and hands. So they typed in the keywords and came up with one book by Rick Weinman in Tucson, Arizona, called Your Hands Can Heal.
Beautiful. And that's how you found Rick.
So I wrote to Rick, and I asked him, if you ever come to Michigan, I'd love to meet you because we have this agreement. And he wrote back and he said, well, I don't believe in agreements like that, but an interesting story. And he said, and I'll never come to Michigan. I don't go there, but I'll be teaching a vortex healing class in the next couple of months, and you are invited to come. And that's how I went to Arizona to visit and have my first experience with Rick.
Oh, wow. That's so amazing. That's super exciting in so many ways and inspiring in so many ways. First of all, what I'm getting from it is that we are taken care of all the time. So we have our journeys and we are doing the things and we do them for a reason. That's what I get from your corporate, that you had a spiritual contract.
There was value.
And then also that when you were supposed to find vortex healing, find Rick and this spiritual advisor in another state to call this lady, the universe was like patient enough to light that ad up, like for 6 months, did you say?
Yes.
Yeah, and then when you went to Barnes and Noble and found that book, Rick had that book, and then you found Rick, and Rick was like, okay, come to my class, and that's,
that started.
This journey.
A new chapter in my life.
Yeah, this vortex healing chapter. So thank you so much,
you.
Terrie. You're so
exciting.
inspirational.
Thank
Yeah.
you. It's lovely to have you and share my story.
Yeah, thank you for being a Joy Bubble. My name is Kaisa Koskinen, and I hope you enjoyed this video and this beautiful story from Terrie too. Bye.
Thank you for listening. Bye.
Bye.